It's Koulibaly, baby. Give me that race card. What's going on, everybody? We are back. Right now, it's me and TST. Jeb's going to be joining us shortly, and money has changed John. After winning his 4K this weekend, he said, buckshot tank. Also, we could swear in the first 5 minutes today because YouTube has already demonetized us. So I'm not worried about this one getting demonetized. Before we check in with TST, a couple of things in the comments here. Bodavine said Mike equals McClung, JBB is McConnell, AJB is Bilal Koulibaly, and TST is Luke Kennard. Honestly, these are probably more accurate than what we gave ourselves, right?
Oh, don't act like we chose ourselves there. I'm pretty sure that was whatever was easiest to Photoshop for Jeb there. So shout out Jeb for another fire thumbnail, though.
Yeah, he did. He put it together quickly today, too. So we decided we're just going to dive into Sorare. So there was they had some, I don't know, they made it look prettier today. So everybody was excited about that. I'm just like, so I don't know how you are about stuff like this. And I don't know if it's PTSD or whatever, just from our Top Shot experience. But anytime people are like, dude, you're not going to believe what the fuck we just did. And then I'm like, okay, dark mode. Like, yeah, like it looks different. It looks cool. I don't know if I'm rallying the troops every time. I don't know. Did you have any thoughts on today's announcements and changes on the site?
I mean, they don't move the needle. You just do expect like things like that to like improve over time.
Right.
I will say like their process on their site was very chunky when they first started, and then they've made some different additions and changes to it as we've advanced. The only thing I kind of like is like the rewards part of it, where it shows you like how many rewards you've won right like out in the open and stuff. And a lot of like the third party sites were already doing that, but I think that's like kind of cool or useful, maybe even like understanding, or just like the rest of the stuff. It's like, I don't know, you still got to get used to where things are anyways. So like, by the time you get used to it, you don't realize that it's changed, like all these apps and stuff, and then you forget about it and you're like, okay.
Right. Yeah. So we're like, listen, all improvements are good improvements. We're not fudding improvements. It's more the announcement of the improvements that always make me chuckle. But I guess, why don't we like start with this? So I want to shut up Boston Base here, who is yelling about Team Hold Gaming, but Boston Base today decided he's going to get involved in Sorare. So what a time to join the show and get a feel for what we're doing. But I guess we'll start here, TST. I made some purchases this week. We'll look at my my buys, and then I kind of just want to hear like what you're doing. I know we've talked offline a little bit about it, but we're in this weird like we're waiting for season
limbo.
2.
We're in limbo.
Yeah, we are in limbo, right? And so it's Koulibaly. Is it? Did I say it's Koulibaly? Bodavine, why are you? How do I know you know what the fuck you're talking about? Maybe I'm right and you're wrong. Also, Time Lord, welcome. You can swear. Speaking of swearing, Jeb, get the fuck in here, dude.
What's up?
How we doing, man?
Oh, good. LA traffic was brutal today.
Yeah, dude, it was the 101. Like, what was backed up today?
405. 405, baby.
All right, so I guess we're just talking Sorare. We're just gonna see where it goes, and we're starting with this. This is what I was gonna say. So I bought some stuff, and then I want you guys to tell me that I'm dumb, but not because of the cards that I bought, but because that I bought anything to begin with. So this is what I did this week. I scooped up a little Mark Williams down here, Devin Vassell, some PJ Washington, some Yuta and Eric Gordon. That was all you, Jeb. Thanks for that shout out. Maddie Harrison put me on Grant Williams. DeAndre Ayton, I just kind of wanted him. And then Shaden Sharp, I snagged him too, because I think I just want a lot of Portland Trail Blazers. But what I guess, like, this is just to start the conversation. Where are you guys at right now with snagging stuff? As we know in the next few days, they're going to start auctions. Year 2 starts. I don't know. Where are you guys at? We'll start with TST because he was here on time. All right, John?
So I've been like looking at some cards. I've thrown out some offers here and there. I think I finally picked up a Josh Richardson, basically just because I was fed up and impatient and stuff. But I'm like very interested to see what happens in this like first like week of auctions that come out for the season 2. Like not even like after lock, just leading up to lock. And I want to see what happens and the comparison. Like, how much is it baked in right now that season 1 will be less valuable than season 2 because of the bonuses? Today or yesterday or the last couple of days, they updated the bonuses. So you'll notice like some of your cards are down to like a 1% bonus, a 0% bonus.
Yeah.
You know, rare, they're around 10 to 15, depending on how much you had collected in XP. So I'm interested in like seeing how quickly the market adjusts to that, or if it's like baked in right now. So are these prices like essentially they should be lower? Like the season 1 should be lower price than season 2. So are they right now lower, and these season 2 ones that come out are going to be way higher? There's also like season 2 is going to have a lower supply, so people that really care about it. So it's going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to be crazy. I don't think like you're going to be necessarily like shooting yourself in the foot by buying right now.
Yeah.
I've done it in part out of like laziness and knowing I have more time as well before we really get kicked off. But it'll just be interesting. But the fact that it's a slow release, right? It's not like a giant, it's not like 10,000 hit at once, so everyone can get a season 2 if they want. So it will be slow over time, but it'll be interesting.
And I guess to dumb down what TST said, just in case anyone like didn't fully grasp it, not that they didn't grasp it, but basically what you're saying, like this Mark Williams that I got off the market there for 75 that we can see, where you're basically saying, is it at 75 now because year 2 is going to come out at 100, or does year 2 come out at 75 and then all of a sudden that one drops down to 50? Like that's what we're trying to figure out. Like, is it already baked into the price, or are we going to see a little bit of a dip when it comes out? And I think that's a great question. I have no idea. This is more of I just wanted stuff, so I had a lineup to build. But I did kind of want to grab a big boy for an MVP, but I'm in the same boat where I'm like, maybe I should wait a little bit. Jeb, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
So I think one thing that's interesting actually is once, because the three of us and John, we're all kind of talking about this on and off like the last couple of weeks, like here and there. And I think one thing that's interesting is if you look at the marketplace right now, you can and compare prices. There is a small dip that has happened after they took away the 5%. Like nothing crazy, but we have seen just prices in general take a little bit of a dip. And I think, there are some people that maybe didn't realize that, that 5% was there. So I do think there is going to be a pretty I do think there will be a pretty decent difference between Series 1 and Series 2. I think in price, correct. I think after we're a couple weeks in, there won't be. But I think at the very beginning, there's going to be a somewhat significant change in price. Where, like, for example, your Mark Williams that you got for 75, I bet you that Series 2 is going for like 100 or like 110. Yeah. Nothing like crazy at all, but like a noticeable enough chunk where it's not like 80 to 75. It's like 100 to 75.
Yeah. I think that's right. I mean, that was what I was seeing in baseball. And real quick too, Josh said, why is season 2 going to be more valuable? So Josh, one thing that they do for the current year, right? So for year 1, if you bought a limited, you get a 5% boost. In rare, I think it was 15% or whatever it was, or 10%. What happens when the year ends, you lose that boost, and the boost is applied to the year 2 card. So if year 2 automatically it's like more valuable because it's got a higher boost. However, if you were owned a card for the whole year and we're playing it every week, you earn the XP and it like cancels itself out, which one of the cool things of like, it's like a reward for holding and playing, which I do like. Sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to answer Josh's question.
No, you're good. You're good. But yeah, I think kind of to TST's point, there's just no possible way that the market has already priced all this in. So I do think there will be some I do think S2 will be worth a decent amount more to begin with. And I do think there will be some price inefficiencies where once again with Mark Williams, let's say I bought him at 75 right now or 70 because we've seen this teeny bit of a dip.
Oh my God, he's down $5?
No, he's down like 3. I just checked. So you're good. But you could theoretically buy that Series 1 at like the 70 mark and probably be able to sell it for 80 and watch the S2 go from like 100 to 90. I think the S2 will always be a little more valuable, but I do think they're going to meet in the middle somewhere once like enough auctions have happened that the people that are really chomping at the bit aren't like going ballistic on auctions.
Yeah, I think that's right. I do think that's right. Boston base too. Maybe we can do like almost dial it back a little bit since Boston base is just getting started. He said, obviously you need a balanced roster. Is there a way to develop a roster bench in a skillful way, or is it all about finding value in the marketplace? I feel like we probably all approach this a little bit differently. But TST, I don't know, like what like seeing that comment, what's kind of like your first thought as to like rounding out your squad?
I think the first thing you want to do for whatever tier you're playing at, whether it's limited or rare, whatever it is really locking down an MVP. And that varies based on your budget, your outlook and stuff. Do you want to go with someone that's, cheaper and younger that you're going to have for more years? If you're looking really long term, do you want to be the highest competing? And then you're looking at, your Jokic, your Giannis, your Luka, but you're going to pay for those. Do you want to try to go in that like mid tier, like maybe like a Tatum where you pay a little less, but you still put them at big numbers? But I think locking in one of those, like deciding what you're going to do with MVP would probably be top of my list. And that kind of will remove what it does from your budget. And then you go from there. Personally, I think that you should concentrate on the champion lineups, the ones that have the MVP early on, at least, because you'll be able to reuse cards more often in that. Whereas if you're trying to put together competitive in the ones that don't have MVP where the cap is lower, if you're putting together good lineups, you're not going to be able to use them in future game weeks because their caps are going to be going up. And then you're going to have to be constantly going to the marketplace over and over, which is fine if you like allocate that for kind of every week to have a little bit to spend. But I think most people kind of want to like make a decent roster and then be able to play. And I start focusing now more on my MVP. Last year at the very beginning, I think I focused too much on the contenders, and then now I'm more on the champion side of things. And then I just kind of use what I win with and fill in the contender. But I definitely think that deciding what you want to do with your MVP is the first step.
Yeah, it's so funny because you were the one that turned me on to that. Thanks for turning me on. But
I do my best.
And you did a great job. But that was something that, because I think we all were kind of the same mindset early on, right? Where it's like, oh, this is actually kind of fun, trying to find the right value to plug and play to like make the best contender lineup. But then you did find yourself, right? Like if you do make a good call in the contender lineup, then all of a sudden your player, his cap goes up and now you can't make that lineup again. So now we're back onto the marketplace. So by ponying up and getting like a solid MVP, now not all of us have that sick ass Giannis money, TST, but by making a move like that, that definitely makes a difference. But going back to the original question from Boston Base, I don't know, Jeb, like what is your approach with kind of filling out your roster?
I mean, I kind of took things the opposite way, and I still, unlike, I think a lot of us kind of approach things similarly, but unlike you guys, I think I'm kind of still in that boat where like I enjoy, digging through the trash to find the garbage that's going to outperform. So I think it also just depends on like what you're trying to get out of Sorare. And I think also with all these new contests they're going to have, you're going to have a lot more opportunity to really customize your approach exactly. I own, I think 4 of those right now. But like, I think there's a lot of opportunity to, I think one thing, regardless of how you approach it, kind of to TST's point, before the season starts, if you do want to buy that MVP player, I think one of the funnest things to do and one of the most like rewarding things to do is to bet on a player that not everyone thinks is going to absolutely go nuts. I mean, like I right now have Kristaps from last year, who I bet on pretty early and that paid off. And then I have Zion, who got injured, so it didn't pay off, but I have his card for this year. And those are 2 guys that are significantly lower priced than, like a Jokic or a Giannis. And I definitely think there's a world where if Zion stays healthy, he puts up those same level of numbers. So I think last year, think it was you, Mike, or maybe John got an SGA because you're like, this is the year
John
he
did,
pops off. Yeah, and that paid off tremendously because he got an MVP level player for a price of like a mid-level star. So I would say kind of like if you're in, especially if you're like into best ball and stuff, like use that same logic to be like, okay, where's the ceiling on this guy? Let me compare it to the price of some other guys I think are around his ceiling, and let me find out who I want to build around.
So that's fun. Let's actually, if you guys are down for it, let's just kind of surf around some potential MVPs. Because I think like the second you say MVP, you're like, well, if I don't have Jokic, Luka, Giannis, those are the clear top three, right? And then it's probably the Embiid, Tatum, SGA range. But like after that, like what are the next MVPs? And maybe you can find a little bit of a, because a price gap in some of these. Because right, and I'm just going to use rare because that's where I've been surfing on I don't know why I keep saying surfing, browsing in the marketplace. So I'm going to, dude, fucking hang 10, dude.
Get twisted, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude, it was on the 405 and they're on, all right. But let's look at these just immediately somebody said Ant-Man, which I think is going to be a fun one to look at. But right, so like Jokic for a price point, and again, this is sorted by like their last season, their last 10 games.
Sort by price, I think. I think that'd be more fun.
All right, let's go by, but it does by how can I do highest price? Where's that at?
I don't know. They need to figure out their sorting. They have a lot of good filters. They don't
Wait,
have
you
a
can
lot
only
of
do
sorting.
lowest price?
Yeah, so it's got newly listed lowest price, highest average score.
Just leave it at score.
It's dumb.
It's frustrating, but whatever.
So like right across the board, so you see Jokic, Booker, AD to me sticks out right away, just because I feel like he can be the highest scoring guy, and he's like almost a third, well, more than a third, but a lot cheaper than Jokic. I don't know. We see like look at these first two rows, right? So Jokic, Booker, AD, Dame, Jimmy, Ant-Man, Tatum, Hallie. I mean, Ant-Man's already 740. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, Ant-Man's not a deal. I would say like Halliburton kind of sticks out because I think you said this already, Mike. This is not like an original hot take of mine, but I think the Pacers are going to be one of the fastest teams in the NBA this year.
Yeah,
like Halliburton is going to be getting 30 assists a game. Like I think he was incredible last year. I feel like he at that price is a pretty great steal. And once again, just my brain is going to best ball, and it's like people are drafting him in the first round above
like
Ant.
Yeah,
above Ant. So if you're paying almost half that price for him when Ant's at almost 750, I feel like that's a really sharp move there.
And then TSC, anybody from those like first two rows? I guess we'll just like go through a couple of pages of these, but anything that like stood out while you were looking at this, or because I mean, again, you see Jokic, you're like, yeah, of course, I would like to have Jokic.
Yeah, I mean, like I think we're more looking for that, like either someone that we think is a great bargain or the next step down that we think can compete regularly. The other thing it's a long way away, but like it also like it's not a bad idea to think a little bit about playoffs too when it comes to your MVP.
Yeah.
If like you're going to be wanting to compete in the playoffs, you're going to want your MVP to go as far as possible. So like Tatum is a little appealing when you're talking like second rung of when we're talking MVPs, maybe long-term Anthony Edwards would be better, but I think in the short term, I'd much rather like this season, I'd rather have Jason Tatum for $10 more than Anthony Edwards.
Maddie says he likes Kawhi here. I haven't seen what Kawhi's at, so I'm just gonna plug him in here. That is actually this. I feel like this might be a little bit sharp here. 147.
Dude, there's a couple guys like that. I'm scrolling down. Like Brunson's at 110, and I mean I don't think he's Kawhi level, but I think he's going to be the main guy on a team that's probably going to make the playoffs.
And Boston,
who actually was the top at one of the under the radar better MVPs last year was Julius Randle. And right now, if you look him up, he might be kind of weirdly expensive, more than you'd think. So 265, but that's because he's on a ridiculously low cap for that quality or that what he performed at last year. So he might be actually someone to like watch when his cap goes back up to probably in the like high 30s where it'll be like in not too long. And then he might be like more interesting.
Yeah,
As
because
like a bargain one.
It's so funny because if you have Randall here, right? Because I agree, he's like someone you can make an MVP lineup with. But if he's going to cap at 29, I'm like, nah, dude, I'm putting that in my contender lineup, depending on what my roster is, right? If I already like, if you have Giannis, right? So if you have Giannis and then another, like say Jamal Murray's cap's too high, but somebody like that, then you throw in Randall in that lineup. But for a contender, if that's like your best lineup, for a contender lineup, for him having a 29, that's like incredible.
What's Sabonis at?
So that, man, you beat me to it. That was going to be the guy that I was going to say, because again, using as Jeb, I thought that was a sharp way to look at it. He's at 234 right here at the cap at 39. But as Jeb was saying, right, if you look at what best ball is, like ADP and best ball, most of it makes sense, right? It's kind of like the first 6 that we listed off. But the 7th pick is Anthony Edwards. The 8th pick is Sabonis. The 9th pick is like Halliburton. And then the 10th pick is AD. And I mean, Sabonis is by far the cheapest of all of those guys by a pretty big amount. And he really was putting up like Jokic light numbers last year where he was like a 17, 10 and 10 guy, you know? So I think that's a pretty sharp call out, TST.
Yeah. And also like what's interesting is if you get two of these like
mid-range,
mid-range MVPs, that like there is weeks where you could play both of them in the same lineup. So like if there one's, on a like mid to high 30s, you could fit them in with someone that has like a cap of 20 in a champion lineup, and that averages out to 30. And then you have the other one in MVP. So that's like also like kind of like another strategy you can go. You can choose your MVP more on like the matchup and what's going on, and then also based on the cap, trying to get the other one in the lineup as well.
Yeah, I like that a lot. This is another guy that I thought of was Donovan Mitchell, where I'm trying to think of these guys, like who can be the highest scoring guy in a slate. And we saw Donovan Mitchell score 71 real life points. And so somebody like that sticks out to me. And again, he's like sub 300. Again, we're looking at rare prices. Sorry, what were you going to say, Jeb?
I was going to say, I think a riskier one, or like a little bit risky one, but one that might be worth looking at is Maxey.
Did you say Ben Simmons?
No. Maxey, if Harden leaves, like everyone thinks he is, and pretty much everyone says he is, it's like Maxey's going to have to take the next step. And it's like, okay, maybe Embiid kind of overshadows him, but there's definitely scenarios where Embiid misses time because of injury or management load, and Maxey is like that guy. And he definitely is kind of in that SGA of last year, like realm where he's like, this is going to be his 3rd year, right? Like he's going to take like that next. This is the time he's going to take that next step, and I think he's someone that would be worth taking a gamble on and could really pay dividends.
I like that. I like the Maxey call a lot too. Because I think he's also someone who can be your second guy in if you do get an MVP. Like I think he's a really good candidate for a second guy. I'm sorry, I'm seeing that the Liberty are down 30-13 in the first quarter right now.
What about what's the price of Lauri Markkanen?
Damn it! This is the second time you've done this, dude. I was just going to plug him in. Lauri is 156, and I think that's another great where, like, if you're just trying to build a lineup on a budget, I think he's a great.
That might be my pick for budget.
Yeah,
MVP. He's also young,
handsome.
Just like that price is way
a veteran.
Support the troops.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, I like, and he's only gonna keep getting a bunch of numbers in Utah. Like things aren't changing very much from last year there.
No, I like that. I like that a lot. Hold on, there was a couple of other things I wanted to hit to before I lose them. So Courtside said Trae Young, and I think that's like a good buy low candidate too. We saw him average like 30 and 12, and he's like 234. I think that is somebody that can be it. But I also, so I wanted to pull up Coach Shark Holmes because I meant to say this earlier.
Ingram's cheap.
Well, Ingram is cheap, and I know, like Jeb, you've said this, or you said this today, right? Where you're like a little bit out on Zion actually playing a full season. And I think if you have a stance like that, like this is how you capitalize, right? If you're like, I don't think Zion will play a full season, then Ingram is like a consistently like he could be a 30-point scorer for you. He's $114 in the rare tier. And so I do think if you have takes, like make decisions based on that, right?
Now, a flip side of Zion, I would say, is a Mikal Bridges. He's a guy that is going to play every single game. And on top of that, he's in this new role where he showed these glimpses of like just an incredible like fantasy points put out. Like maybe they aren't going to win a ton of games, but I think Bridges is going to be dropping some serious stats in the box score. And like it would take a miracle to keep him from playing every single game.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I like that. Sorry. I see John in the chat says, "What's up, boys? Knocking out with some NyQuil. Please end the show breaking down every Kings player cap and projection." I am happy to say that not only is Shot Tank sponsored by Momentum Labs, but Live Before Lock re-upped with Momentum Labs for their sick-ass projections for So Rare for the next season. Bottomine said, "Why are we looking at Ingram?" I was just saying, like, if you are, you know what, Bottomine, what the fuck, dude? You've come in with some angry energy today, all right? I said Koulibaly, great, and then I like Ingram. I like Ingram.
I think Ingram has a really high ceiling, especially like you said, Mike. If you think that there's even a chance that Zion misses time, like I think Ingram could put up crazy numbers.
I want to go back to Stark Holmes's comment too to go to Siakam. I think here TST. You want to like we the North it for a little bit? Where are we at? Where are we at with our Siakam love right now?
Well, apparently Masai Ujiri is not loving him so much. He's got to learn to pass the ball a little more. He's got to not play selfish, and he's got to do those things before we even start to have the conversation of an extension. So I don't know. No, he's just he's gonna have some big games, but he's never gonna have that massive game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like he's not someone that's like he might maybe one game week the whole year will he be like the top scorer.
So
yeah, I'm not a big Siakam guy.
Wow. If you guys feel that way, are you about Siakam? Are you a little bit higher on Scotty Too Hottie Barnes?
Yeah, I
have a
so.
Scotty.
Yeah.
I would have to look at the price though before I like.
It's like
that's 135. Yeah, I would say that Siakam's going to be probably averaging higher, but I think Scotty will have like more bigger games.
Another guy that I think's kind of a sleeper and is basically half the price of Scotty right now. I don't know if he's the same cap as Scotty exactly right now. I don't know if he is a MVP level player, but it's Andrew Wiggins. Like I think people are so down on Wiggins right now just because he disappeared for months and then the Warriors didn't do anything in the playoffs.
Wait, Jeb, did you just say you don't know if he's an MVP caliber player? Because he's nowhere near one.
No. I think there's a world this year where he puts up some serious empty stats as the Warriors like just burn to the ground. Like, I mean, they're old. I think Chris Paul, Draymond, and Clay and Steph could all get injured. And I think Wiggins is going to be one of the few guys that is younger and will be leading the team. I think Wiggins has to, if the Warriors want to make a serious playoff run this year, I think Wiggins is the key more than anyone else. I think he has to perform at a higher level on both sides of the court.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with that. I think if they are gonna have a solid season, it's gonna be because of Wiggins. Wiggins has to be great.
Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna be an MVP level player. To your point, like, yeah, it's totally possible he doesn't reach that ceiling, but I think, like, I would take Wiggins over Scotty Barnes and Sorare right now.
Oh wow, I don't think I would. I I mean, I do. I understand the conversation around price, but if price wasn't involved, I like Scotty more. I just think Scotty's going to play point forward. I think we're going to see some like Josh Giddey type numbers from Barnes this year, where it's going to be like a 12, 10, and 8 type game.
Yeah, maybe it just with the Raptors seem weird this year. The vibes seem off. So maybe I'm just like I mean, I'm drafting a lot of Scotty in best ball and a lot of Wiggins. So it's not like I don't believe in Scotty. I have a Scotty for so rare that I'm very excited to use. But I don't know. I just, I mean, I could be wrong. It just seems like Wiggins is like set up to have like the biggest year of his career. Not that it's going to be like this insane year where he's like competing with Tatum for MVP, but I think,
right.
yeah, I think he will be putting up some pretty crazy numbers.
Yeah, I just want to say the Liberty gave up 38 points in the first quarter, so I'm dead inside. Pack Trip said, is Bassey a sleeper on the low end? He's Collins back up 5. I actually like this as a stash. Like, I don't know if I'd be playing Bassey pretty regularly, but you know, Wemby is built like Gumby, so there's a chance he misses some time. There's gonna be weeks where Wemby plays like one of the 3 or 2 of the 3 games. Maybe Zach Collins misses time. And so if that, like, Bassey is pretty productive when he's out there. So I like that as a stash, as like a backup big for those 2. So I'm for
$10 more though, you can get Collins.
And you should get Zach Collins.
Yeah.
Because he's going to play.
Also, Bassey's cap is just like a little high right now from like the end of last year, which is
let that come down.
Common with some like of those players that had those that were the great plays at the end of the regular season. Now are kind of like
yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. Also, Tessa said, did the So Rare Studios have a writer to fill out? No, I don't think so. But that is a good question. Like, what should be on the writer? Like, if I can always submit one, or, you know, I can
Blue
submit
M&Ms with the M removed.
Yeah, with the M removed. That's good.
Yeah,
licked off.
Yeah, by John. It's Hershey. I know we're kind of going all over the place. It started with MVPs, but I actually am enjoying this quite a bit. So if you guys are fine with it,
super
let's just
fun
keep doing this. All right. So Hershey's asking about Christian Brown, who I'm excited to talk about the Nuggets because I do like this take. It does feel like it's going to be either him. It's either going to be Christian Brown, who right now, I don't know why this filter is so technically, I guess there's all of these letters in Brandon Ingram. No, why is it? But I
think it's accounting for the fact that you might have misspelled Brandon. Let's go, Brandon.
That's not yeah, I feel like you guys all need to know the inside joke of why we do that. It's, you know what? I'll tell you, it's for Brandon's soul. But so I didn't realize his cap is 6. This is wild.
Yeah.
That's why it's so expensive.
I've been trying to buy him for $60 for the last 3 weeks, and
just
no one has taken me up on that.
I like that. So I do think he's going to have first crack at 6th man. And then what we saw from the rookie Julian Strouthur last night was pretty promising. And I wonder if he gets a shot at being one of the first guys. But I do think they like Christian Brown quite a bit. I think he's going to be their first guy out there. And at a cap of 6, I mean, holy shit, that's great.
Dude, whenever we bring up Christian Brown and the Nuggets, I'm just heart wrenched that my man Chanchar is injured, because man, my Chanchar stack was ready to really take off this year, because I think he was going to be 6th or 7th man.
Ooh, listen, shout out Gnome. Our guy Gnome is sharing stuff in real time here. Hold on. Wait, you can see this. I thought I was sharing. Oh, you guys
in real time, as you can see it.
All right, here we go. I thought I was just sharing an individual screen there. So you were seeing every time I switched over. Wow. All right.
I only saw you switch over once, and you did it real quick. So I was like, he must know.
Dude, there he is. Look at fucking Gnome. We love Gnome, dude. All right. So this is breaking down different MVPs based on their like highest scores. I don't know what wins mean. Does that mean it was like the highest score
of
the
week, maybe?
But I mean, no shocker here, except when we called out Donovan Mitchell being much cheaper than everybody else, right? And 3 different times, he put up a 70, 100, and a 77. But everybody else on this list, like Luka, Jokic, Steph, Embiid, Dame, Giannis, AD, Vooch though. How about Voochie, man? I don't think we expect
a rebound machine on a bad team. So,
dude, Zubac put up a 70.
Yeah, I think he got like 30 boards that game week.
Wow.
I think Derek White being on there, I think it's not impossible for him to do that again too. I'm very high on Derek White this year. I think
Wow.
he's going to get so much more playing time now that they got rid of like all these guards.
There we go. Noam telling us wins how many times they
Okay.
were.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I'm actually surprised by this too. SGA not on the list. SGA never that. I mean, I guess SGA's got like a good floor to him week to week, but maybe not the same ceiling as some of these guys because SGA's stat lines usually look like 35, 5, and 5.
Well, also like this is the top score of the game week, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So like if I'd rather my player be second 10 times than first once, right? So
Right.
Yeah.
like I mean this is great to show. What this is really good is that it shows like that one of those cheaper ones can be the best one on any given week, which then would allow you to compete. That you don't need the
100%.
best one, but obviously the more, and Noam's talking about sending top 5 as well, and that might be even something more interesting for those that are at top.
Question to you two in terms of SGA. Do you think in terms of so rare and I guess even like fantasy in general, do you think it's possible that he takes a little bit of a step back because OKC is just so talented? Like he doesn't have to put up these crazy numbers for them to win or stay in a game. Like, and Chet's here now. Like, I don't know. I've started to get cold feet on SGA a little bit.
No, the reason I don't is because of the way he scores. Like I mean, he's volume in a sense, but like he is the guy. He averaged 10 free throws a game last year. Like that's just like 10 points, and you saw what he did with Canada when I know it's not the same roster, but it was the same thing. I just think he is that guy. They know he's the guy. You know what I mean? Like there's no internal dialogue of like, who's our alpha? It's like SGA and everyone should be happy to be along for the ride. I think that's like a good thought process though, Jeb, because it does, right? Like you're like, okay, if Jalen Williams takes a step, if Giddey takes a step, and if Chet Holmgren arrives, does he maybe not have the same amount of volume? But man, I feel like you can pencil him in for 25, 5, and 5 every single game. But TSC, this is close. You have a jersey in the background.
There's also like the fact that if all those people take a step, it just makes Shea's life easier. They can't hone into him as much. He gets, open looks and stuff like that. And, like you get to know a player a little differently. I think if like they're on your team, like who you are just like dying about, maybe if you have like a sweat for a game, but more like maybe like a season long game, or you also get that feeling a bit when you're going up against a guy and getting to cheer for SGA in all those games. It was just like you had so much confidence in him at the end of games when he was going on these runs where he would just like go on these, like all of a sudden, he'd be having an average game. And then in the third quarter, he'd have like 12 points. Like, you just kind of blinked. He didn't do anything like crazy. He wasn't taking like deep threes or anything. He was just like, oh, he got to the rim there. He got to the rim there. He hit a 3. He got fouled. And it's like, oh, now he's got 12 points in the quarter. And you're like, okay.
But I will, Jeb, to go back to your point, though, it does make me nervous about Jalen Williams, who I do think is awesome. And I think he's going to have, he's going to be like, he will make all-star teams, I think. But I guess actually at 100, he's not terrible, but his cap's 31. Like, I feel like his cap should probably be 24.
I mean, that's why I'm completely out on Drew Holiday in like anything fantasy. Yeah. I think he's going to be amazing. I think he's going to at least be a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think in any world is he going to be good for like a show rare lineup or a best ball lineup or anything like that. Like he'll have a couple games where Brown or Tatum or someone sitting and he drops like 50 to 70 fantasy points, but it's going to be far and few between.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, so there's 2 things I wanted to get to before we continue this conversation. So Stubbs had a question about Jalen Johnson, Bogdanovich, or Jalen Suggs, or any of those guys worth the risk. And I talked a little bit about Jalen Johnson this morning, that he feels like he's I think they like him in Atlanta, and it feels like he's going to be their first guy off the bench, maybe even give DeAndre Hunter a run. But I don't know. Any of those guys stand out to you guys? Again, it was Jalen Johnson, Bogdanovich, or Suggs.
I would just say Bogdanovich is a no. I actually really like Bogdanovich, but he's just getting older and there's a lot of depth for the Hawks. And the fact that he got basically demoted from starter to bench player kind of says everything I need to know about where his like trajectory is headed. And I think the other two, like, there's a lot of upside there. I would probably lean Jalen Johnson because of your points, Mike, and also because the Magic have a million guards. So
yeah, that's my concern with Suggs too. Yeah, what about you, TST? Anything?
Yeah, I'd probably go Jalen Johnson or Bogdanovich. Like,
Yeah.
and Suggs that backlog of Orlando, and like the fact that like Paolo and Franz both kind of handle the ball. It's like,
yeah, that too.
alone the number of guards they have.
That I'm with you. Jalen's probably got the most like season long upside. I like having Bogdan stashed because if like Trey or DeJounte goes down, like Bogdan is awesome, and
no, he's super good.
Yeah, because I agree with you, right? Like he's only going to be playing like 24 minutes a game, but if one of those dudes go down, also courtside just fucking hammering Suggs, man, like 35 different times, which is wild. All right, Matty Harrison, who is the man who made me buy Grant Williams, said pick one under 30. Pick one under 30 or under cap player who will have the best So Rare season. So basically, Randall, Poole, Simons, Hero, or Jeb's favorite player, Ben Simmons. I'll leave that up.
I don't think it's going to be Randall or Simmons. I think you can make a case for all the other three, like Poole, Simons, and Hero. I think I'm going to lean towards Simons.
Nice.
If you would have asked me like even a week or two ago, I think I would have probably taken Poole because, he's got as everyone said, till their face is blue. Like he's got the greenest light possibly in recent NBA history.
Right.
But I just think Simons has Scoot, who will be a great facilitator. He has Aiden and like all these other players around him, which will kind of take the pressure off him a bit, kind of what we were talking with SGA. And he's now essentially the guy in Portland. I guess you can make a argument it's Scoot, but I would still give the edge to Simons just because he's been there for a while and he's shown that like the ceiling that he is capable of, especially last season over the stretches that Lillard didn't play. Well, I think Poole is still kind of a little bit regulated by the fact that his team's not necessarily the best. Tyus and Kuzma are like Kuzma me jacking up shots, taking away usage from him. Tyus is going to be, making sure everyone's involved, and he's not just going to be feeding Poole or standing to the side and letting Poole handle the ball. While Simons, I think, is better defensively as well. So yeah, I would go with Simons.
What about you, TST?
I think I'm clearly taking Randall out of this.
Clearly,
Randall.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on, let me give me a drop. Let me fire up that fucking 4-second drop, baby.
Regular season Randall.
So that is perfect to what my point is about to be. I'm so far off him because of his playoff performance, and let's get real. So Rare's played mainly in the regular season. So I think he was injured too during the playoffs, so that like doubled down on the fact that he didn't have a good playoffs. So his cap's nice and low right now too. So especially at the start here, I know Poole's is ridiculously low, but I just cannot cheer for Poole in any sort of way ever. So
yeah,
he got knocked out and you just don't respect him as a man.
He's a bitch. I'll you know what? I'm gonna make a case for. So you made a case for Simons and Randall. Poole, I think the case is obvious. I kind of like Tyler Hero a little bit this season.
I would pick Ben Simmons.
No, Tyler Hero, mainly so I can do another drop. Where is it? There we go. Hold on. Tesla's just naming rugs in the chat right now. It's just naming all the rugs. Anyways, I think Hero, the keys are going to be in his hands. Like Jimmy Butler, we know what his regular season workload is typically like. And it's fucking Kyle Lowry, man. That's all they got is Kyle Lowry. So Tyler Hero is going to play a lot. I think those are all great plays, though. And if you are building out a contender lineup, like the fact that all of those dudes are under 30 is pretty sweet. And then Bobby was saying Cade and the Pistons to the playoffs. All right, I think that's nuts that they're going to make the playoffs. But when we were talking about potential like MVPs that are off the radar, and I know he's probably already priced up a little bit.
Yeah,
He's at 312 with a cap of
Wow.
36. But man, I do love what.
That's a good price.
So what you think that should be a lot higher?
I think it should be around 400 if his injury is not anything and he's like over it and everything and he's back to his normal trajectory.
Okay.
I think based
that's
on
a
like
big
what he
if.
could be long term. Yeah, that is a big if. I agree, Jeb, but
it does
I
sound
was
like he's
expecting
healthy and
more.
ready to go. I think they're going to ease him into it though. So I kind of like, I mean, yeah, you can get it now. I kind of like the idea of this cap coming down a little bit. But I like am very intrigued by Cade as I don't know. I'm just buying all the hype that Team USA threw out there where they were like, hey, we need someone to play like Luka against us so that we can prepare for Slovenia. And then all of the reports coming out where that Cade just cut him up, like just absolutely torched Team USA. And I was like, good God. All right, I'm in. I bought in.
No, I believe the Cade hype for sure. I think if you're going to get him for so rare, to your point, Mike, I think you wait a couple weeks because I think there's a lot of hype around him. Like we're seeing that price, which is like, in my opinion, a little high. Actually, I would have thought he was closer to like 250, 200. But I think when he comes out and he's not dropping crazy so rare scores right away, I think the hype will die down a little bit, and that's when you snag him because I do think like 2 or 3 weeks in, he's going to be firing on all cylinders. And as long as he's healthy, I think he will be absolutely incredible this year.
Yeah, let's hit a couple. Reset. How much do you think Poole actually plays at point guard, or really mostly play off ball? So yeah, Reset. I just don't think Tyus Jones is going to be on the Wizards past like January. So I do think you're going to get like a half a season of Jordan Poole playing point guard, or at least like a little bit more on ball. But I don't know. Do you guys have any takes on that with like on ball versus off ball with Poole?
Either one, I do not want to watch.
It's a good take. That's a good take.
My take on that. It's not very helpful for so rare, but
I mean,
like
you can make an argument they trade Poole. Like, who knows what the Wizards are going to actually end up doing? So, like, I mean, if Poole's stock goes through the roof and they don't actually believe in him or they don't want to build a team around him because he's a one-dimensional and kind of selfish player, they might trade him. So I don't know. It'll be so interesting to see what the Wizards do. To TST's point, I probably will not be watching a lot, but I will be keeping tabs on all those players.
Yeah, it is going to be hard. I mean, Wizards, I firmly believe the Wizards are going to be the only team actively losing this season, like going out of their way early on. All right, middle guy has unorthodox takes. Is that what was I the middle guy when I was sharing screen?
No, Jeb was.
No, it's me.
Jeb was. Oh, dude, you unorthodox, Jeb.
Yeah.
All right, there's another comment. Alan, what's up, Alan? Said, what's your take on rookies being released? Their price, and how will that impact the first few weeks?
I wanted to talk about this. So.
Yeah, to TSC, let's just fucking go full screen with our bro TSC. Because he's jacked up about this.
All I wanted to do is ask a question, so I don't know if it's a full screen thing. And basically, my question is that should they release the rookies before, like, while they have a zero cap, or should they wait?
They should release one a week for the next 5 years. That's my take. Jeb, your turn.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to your point, TST, I don't think they technically should, but don't we know that they are going to already because that's what they did last year?
The question wasn't what's going to happen. The question is, should they?
I wasn't sure if you were asking should they,
no.
and is this what's going to happen or not?
No. Should they? They're obviously they're going to do it because like it helps jack up their prices too.
Oh yeah,
they get more money on the primary auction, so obviously they're going to do it. But,
no, you know why I like it? I'm glad that they do this because it reminds me of DFS in a way where like everyone's playing Derrick Henry this week. Derrick Henry's in a smash spot. You have to pay up for Derrick Henry. He's going to crush. And then all the Giga tournament brains are like, you know what, dude? I'm not fucking touching Derrick Henry. So in this world, what I love is that someone has to spend like $4,000 on Wembayama, and then Greg Popovich is going to be like 12 minutes tonight, Vic. And then that person's tilting, right? And it's on a zero cap, so I get it. But I'm okay with it. I don't mind, like, because I don't think there's gonna, like, let's say, all right, so auctions start in 5 days. How many rookies do you think are out by game week 1?
Too many.
Are we talking rare or limited?
Rare. Let's stay with the red.
Let's say
10.
10 per
20?
rookie.
Yeah, 10
Yeah.
per rookie.
That's 10% already out.
I mean, maybe more, right? Because they're
I would go the other way, dude.
Yeah.
They barely like put any out last year.
yeah. I don't know. I feel like because the mint counts are lower, they can afford to put out more at the beginning of the season.
So here
I
we
don't
go.
know.
What? Wait, TST. What did you think?
I thought lower than 10. I was gonna say like 5.
So Heavy D says 2. Hershey says 2 to 3. Yeah, I was gonna say like 3 to 5, something like that. I guess it all depends. Like, I don't know how. This is the other thing. I don't know how active people are going to be in auctions either, right? Because
Yeah.
listen, if you work for So Rare, just the show's over. But I don't know how many people have been like, dude, I'm sitting out year 1, dude, but year 2, that's when I'm gonna get fucking active. Like, I don't know.
Boston Base is going to do
Boston
that.
base,
so-
baby.
Well, dude, and Boston
We
Base,
spent a quarter of the show.
dude, Boston Base can't thank you enough for signing up using our promo code. But no, I don't know. I'm very curious to see how active people are going to be on auctions. Like, that's not even to like FUD the product at all. I think everybody that is here really enjoys playing the basketball game. But I just don't know how many people. Like, I don't think I'm going to participate in too many auctions because I don't have the bankroll for the rookies. And I would much rather, if I am going to drop cash like that, I'd much rather go get an MVP than go get Scoop.
20 Victor Wembanyama. Oh no. Winian Gabriel, sorry.
Well, yeah,
W's
20
messed me up.
Yeah, but wouldn't you go? You might go get that MVP from an auction, no?
Yeah, I guess I would. No, I don't know. Man. I don't know.
It'll
like
be interesting to see
prices.
for sure. Because
Wait, Boston Bay said he bought a Porzingis. I do like that buy. We were saying that offline that it was like $90. No, what you should go do now, Boston Base, is buy the most expensive thing you can find. Just to like pump our bags a little bit.
Was that a unique Porzingis you bought?
Yeah, did you buy unique? Gnome says sleeper rookie Keontae George. Dude, Gnome, you came. I don't know if you know this, Gnome, but in best ball, I have like 72% Keontae George. I'm ride or die Keontae George. So I'm
That's
with
awesome.
you, man.
yeah, I think Keontae's good.
Yeah, wait, this does, and not only does it help me, Boston Base, it helps you because you are an investor and Team Old. So, I'm excited though, man.
Each one.
I'm excited. I've been like waiting for this to come back and then scooping up a couple of things. Let's end on this. Although, well, of course, we'll end on the UFC strike minute, but let's end on this in the So Rare conversation. Is there anything you're doing between now and the start of the season? Like, is there anything that you're like, okay, this is like a move I'm trying to make, whether it's a specific buy strategy, whatever. I don't know. Is there anything you're like, I got to do this in the next couple of weeks before game week 1?
Yes. I mean, I'm just kind of monitoring prices on a bunch of different players, just kind of litmus testing where like things are headed. And then just scooping, like I bought a bunch of like secondary bottlenecks. So not the super expensive guys that are the bottlenecks, but guys that might be a bottleneck for the 3 or 4% bonus.
For some reason, I was hearing like you were getting the bottleneck of the bottleneck. It reminds me of The Office, where it's like I'm the assistant to the regional manager.
And then like I bought a Kuzma because I was like,
That's good. I like that buy.
It was a limited and it was like $18, and I was like, yeah, that seems a little bit low, especially when you look at Poole and his is like $40-$50, where Poole's the number 2 to Kuzma as opposed to the opposite way around.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'm trying
Poor
to
Wizard fans that is a true statement that you just said.
What'd you say?
I said poor Wizards fans that is a true statement that you just said.
No, we don't need all the Kuzma slander. But Yeah, I don't know. I've just been kind of monitoring things. Like the marketplace went down a bit, like I said, and that made me go and buy like one or two things to just kind of be like, oh, I think this guy like can play a pivotal role. I haven't sold anything, which
Wow.
I think that's the one. The market pumped like leading up to the season. I'm very curious what's going to happen when it actually goes live and there's more supply and games are going on. But I haven't really tried to sell anything because I'm just like, yeah, I would love to see what all these players look like once the season starts.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because he'll get new faces on their cards. So
The Jimmy Butler.
Oh, dude, the Jimmy Butler's gonna be overpriced just because his series 2 will be like significantly more than his series 1 just because of that.
It's so good. It's so good. TSC, you doing anything?
I think actually what I'm gonna do soon, hopefully, but a lot of this is just out of laziness. I should have sold some stuff probably, but I just don't really look at stuff like that. I just really want to play the game, so I'm just like kind of anxious. So I actually might like look ahead a little bit and like actually look at like starting to build my lineup ahead of time from a like, oh, like I really need someone in a 10 to 15 range. Then looking at who fits that bill, but I'm also like, I could see this being good all year at different cap ranges. So I'll probably do that a little bit just with like a contender and champion lineup, maybe just looking around at, oh, okay, like I like them in the first 2 weeks. Because also I'm pretty sure that for the first 2 weeks, the caps are going to be the exact same too.
Right.
I don't know if everyone realizes that. So like those rookie cheat codes for the first
2 game weeks.
It's going to be 2 game weeks, where that wasn't the case last year because we didn't really start till game week 2 last year. And that's why there was less rookies that were actually on a 0, as I think it was Keegan Murray was the big one. That
was a big one.
Yeah. I'm not. I don't even to that point. I'm not even really trying to compete in the first 2 game weeks.
I've already just ever.
Oh,
I'm just diving in the dumpster, and that's how
yeah. I'm just pure marketplace now. No, I think with those rookies being 0, there's just too many rookies that like I think have potential to put up like real minutes and real points. Like that, even that guy on the Heat, I forgot his name, who like looks incredible right out the box.
Jaime Jaquez, he looks great.
Like just all these guys where I was like, okay, like this guy, I think he'll be a good rookie, but I don't think he's going to do anything special at the beginning. And the rookie class seems to be pretty deep. Like the Thompson twins, like Scoot's going to be getting a ton of minutes. So I've already the first 2 game weeks I don't care about. Like I'm going to enter some lineups, but I'm not going to sweat over them.
I'm just going to encourage everyone to go look at John Jackson's last tweet. That's all I'll say. I'm not going to share it. Just go check it out. It was a good time. I think for me, I'm going to figure out what like the first half of this show was, what my MVP is going to be, because I don't really have one. I have a lot of like pretty solid plays and need to go get one. So I'm going to be doing that. And then I'm going to be the guy that knows ball. I'm going to watch a lot of preseason action, and then I'm going to fucking make some stands based on the preseason action. Let's wrap it there. So we'll be back again. We're back to our weekly format. We'll be back next week with some more shot tank action. Jeb had a new So Rare video, 10 So Rare steals. That dropped today over on actually Jeb Bush's channel. Anything else going on over there, Jeb?
No. I just was happy to put out a video for the first time in an eternity. So
There you
technically speaking, my channel is not dead. But I'm going to be trying.
How's that feel? I should try that.
Yeah. But TST is going to be doing some live before lock, so maybe it's not curated content on your channel, but you're back, baby.
I'm back, baby. I just need the basketball to actually start. Mind you, it was really nice to watch Red Zone all day and then get to watch preseason instead of the Sunday night game.
That is nice.
Living the dream.
The Liberty have cut it to 8 at halftime, so we got a game after being down 4,000, which is exciting. And I'm going to game 3, which I'm very excited about. What do we got? We've got the NBA bit every morning at 9 a.m. We also have the Underdog Happy Hour show Fridays at 3 o'clock, and that's what's coming up the rest of this week. If you missed the 89 Cavs on Tuesday night, you can go back and listen to that and watch that. That was a lot of fun. We had a good time ranking the top 10 teams of both the East and the West, and Steve got super pissed at us the whole time. And that was a good time. But I think that's really it for stuff that I've got. Make sure you click all the links. But Jeb, more importantly, dude, tell me about all the pings going on in the UFC Strike Discord. What's happening in UFC Strike? Give us that.
All right, we're pulling a little bit of an audible here. We're not talking about UFC Strike specifically. We're just talking about the UFC because UFC 294 is right around the corner. And this is some of the like craziest chaos I've ever seen, guys. I don't know if you follow UFC, but we had Charles Oliveira just drop out, and now we get Islam versus Volk 2. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere,